Hello, everyone. Hello, beautiful ones. Shabbat Shalom almost, and almost Passover. Pesach. Passover. So this is the last remaining of the bread of the chametz, the bread that we don't use bread, flour, any of this for the next week, for the next week until next week. Yeah, so that's the last of it. The last. The absolutely last. So let me put you here so I can talk with you. Just showed if you just joined. Hello. Just wanted to show again the last of the Mohicans. No, the last of the piece of bread before the Passover. So that's the that was the last of that bread. It's going to be over soon. Then I can use it as a rock or something. Anyway. Hello. Wow, this is Passover. Tonight was always my favorite as a kid. I always loved Passover. I don't know, maybe something that has to do with the preparation of it. I remember as a kid we had this little chair, this little stool that had four legs, and it had just like a flat piece of wood on top. And this little chair, I don't know, it was maybe less than a foot high, maybe a foot high. We used to put it. My mom used to put it on the wall. There was a separating wall between the living room and the bedrooms in that two-bedroom apartment, where 5 or 7 people grew up there. So there was this wall, and behind that wall there was also the entrance to the bathroom. And so that the chair would be sitting there on the wall, and this would be the only left corner of chametz, um, of bread or any of that food that we don't eat in Passover. And so it was this little, and everything was contained to that corner, because up until the holiday, there'll be cleaning of the house, cleaning of any crumbs, dust, all this kind of stuff that can be remaining in the house. So it won't be remaining in the house in Passover. And so everything was concentrated to that little place, that little chair, that little stool that had like 4 metal legs, very simple. Eventually, when we stopped doing family Passovers, the chair went out near the door where you can put shoes on or underneath. So it's Passover. So first of all, I want to say I'm grateful for every one of you, for everyone that I talk to, I don't talk to, or somebody talks to me, or somebody asks something or offers something. I'm grateful for you, as you are my best teachers. When I learn, when I interact, I perfect my interactions. I make my interactions hopefully more conscientious and approachable. So I don't know, this just came to me to say that. So I'm really grateful for everyone, for every one of you. So first of all, I want to start with Passover. Passover, the word Pesach in Hebrew, the word Pesach means to literally pass over. But passing over as if, so let's say if I go from 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So I passed over 5, but I know that 5 is there. I just passed over, whatever. I feel good-hearted today, so I pass over 5, right? So it's still in the system that there is a 5, and I passed over. A Pesach is not just to pass over and keep it in the system. Pesach is to pass over as if it wasn't there, as if it didn't exist. Think about if you go back in time and change your past, you'll come to a future that you didn't know in that past, but you also never knew to begin with because you never experienced it, right? So it's like passing over without even the knowledge. It's like putting money in a savings account, putting money in stocks, right? You don't touch it, but that's still in your system. I have money, it's just there. I just have to get it when I need to get it. But Pesach is the way I see that. Pesach is to Passover as if that matter did not exist because it did not obstruct the pattern of thinking, oh, I'm going to pass it. So Pesach is coming from that as well. So there is an added layer to passing over. So it's not just passing over, but it's also considering that matter as if it's not there. So it doesn't affect any of my systems. So so Pesach is the story on the story level is coming out of Egypt, right? The Israelites coming out of Egypt. Chag Sameach, Sigal. Chag Sameach, Sigal. Thank you for being here. תודה שאת פה. So Pesach is the story on the story level of coming out of Egypt, and I always say that everything physical has a spiritual reason and cause. And of course, when we come to Friday talks, Shabbat talks, or anything that has to do with the portion or anything we talk about, has a spiritual reason, has a reason to why this is happening now, why this is happening with certain people. If you're going through some kind of, you are in a relationship, and everything is about relationships. You are in a relationship, and you're going through something with that person. Everything is here to teach us something. Everything here is for a reason. So if one believes that we all are our own teachers, there we are. Okay, thank you for staying here. If we believe that we are our own teachers, everybody is our best teachers. Why? Because that person triggers something in me, that person revives something in me. Then we also cannot ignore the fact everything that happens is happening for a reason, and everything that is happening in my vicinity or something that affects me is happening for me. It's happening for you. It is not happening to you. No, nobody is punishing you. You know, although in religion and religion sections, it's about punishment. Yes, you do this, you get rewarded. You do this, you get punished. I know I come from a culture, from the way I was brought up. There was a punishment for, if you don't do this, you're going to get punished. So, you know, so it was like a reward system or a scarcity system. So, but Pesach is to pass over. And what are we passing over? What are we passing over? So we in the story level, they get out of Egypt and go through a longer way eventually in the desert to get to the promised land, right? So if we take all that as an analogy, we go out of Egypt to freedom so we can be in a certain state, so we can arrive to a certain state. And a certain state, if we analyze it, we leave Egypt. Egypt in Hebrew means narrow way, means hardship, means when physically, I don't know if you can you hear all this noise? I didn't know that there. So we leave Egypt. Egypt is in between the narrow bridges, is when we go through a narrow corridor to arrive at the living room, right? So many apartments or houses, they have like a narrower corridor, and you go through and you come to the light, you come to the patio with the sun and the ocean and so forth. And just let me know in the notes here if you can hear those. There are neighbors, there's drilling there, and every so often they drill. So Egypt, everybody has an Egypt. We are our own narrow place. We have our narrow places. We have our difficulties. We have our challenges. We have those points in time that we want uh, um, to make better, right? We want this point in our existence in a certain time to be better. So we are bettering ourselves in different ways, right? We look on how to nourish our body, how to nourish our soul, how to nourish our connections. How can we become more conscientious, right? So coming out of Egypt, this is the opportunity. This is the time. Also, with all that is happening astrologically, and the new moons and the full moons that are happening just in this month, and also the month of the time Aviv, spring, where we are now in spring. This is the month of, if we divide the Hebrew letters, Aviv, Av Yud Bet, the father of the 12 months. This is the month of the year, of the calendaric year, that takes care of and represents the rest of the years, the other 12, the other 11 months. Rosh Hashanah, for example, is a representation for the year of the human. We'll talk about that when we get there. So now is the time for the year, and now is and September or Rosh Hashanah is the time for us as humans. So we leave Egypt. We leave our own Egypt. This is the time to look at ourselves, to look at our times. What really figuratively ends and factually, what doesn't serve us? What holds us back? What is not really in our desire? What is something that we want, something that we sometimes desire, and that's okay to desire because we are here and we're human. And what are we doing towards it or not? Our dreams, to come back into connecting with what we do. Maybe it's art, maybe it's art that you've had in your blood all the time, and maybe it's something that needs to be revived, something to remember our voice, to remember your voice. It's not that we don't have these gifts. It's not that you don't have these gifts. You have these gifts. It's to remember, it's to revive them, it's to bring them back. Because sometimes we go on a limb, we go on a journey, we start a new project. We start a new project, and we kind of let go of another project or of other projects. We are at this time of where we are engulfed so much in one project, in one thing to do, that we let go of other projects, and a long time went by. And if we receive this phone call, let's say from somebody, and we don't respond to that phone call, time goes by, forget it. So we have to remember to bring ourselves to that memory pack and to bring ourselves back, right? So this Egypt, this is the time to come out, to look at what is narrowing on us, what doesn't serve us, what is holding us back, what is taking us back, what is our Achilles heel, right? What is our Achilles heel? What is holding us back? What is holding us back from jamming, from flying, from going crazy? Where's my water? I just had the water here. Oh, put it on this side. Right? So what doesn't serve us? What is not? And we're going through the desert, and the desert is a time of collection, of going inside, of quietness, quietening everything else. But as of today, we're still not in the desert. We're preparing to do all this. We're preparing to rush out. We're preparing to leave. In the story, in the Torah, it says, leave fast, leave everything, just go, just go. It's like when we have a fire, God forbid, and something that we experience. If we experience the fire, or there is an emergency, we have to leave everything and just go. No worry about taking something. No worry about, oh, I forgot it. Just leave. And that hastiness, that hastiness sometimes is good. Sometimes is good. That quick. Sorry, I don't want to say hasty. I want to say that quickness. That quickness, and the quickness comes when we have our goals in here. When we have what we know. Yeah, I know. At least I know what I don't want. sometimes knowing what we don't want is important in finding out what we do want. Because if I don't know what I don't want, how do I know what I do want? Sometimes if you're procrastinating, sometimes that helps. What don't I want? And I'll get to what I want. So leaving Egypt and coming to this, to starting this journey of exodus, of exiting what is not really serving us. And the seder that we're doing tonight, the Leila Seder, the night of order, it's putting everything into order. Seder comes from order, comes from order, meaning that everything is in line, everything is in order, everything is a purpose, everything is here, everything. And all the plate, and we have a plate, the Seder plate, and on each part of the plate we put a certain reminder, a reminder that refers to how we are, to be here, to how we are, what is good for us. When we are doing what is good for us, then we see the results. So the shank bone is the kindness, the egg is the discipline, the bitter herbs is the compassion, the chaoset, the dates is the resilience, because it represents the mortar that was used to put the blocks, to create the blocks with. The karpas, the potato, the humility, down to earth, right? The plate, the plate represents the grace and the blessings that we are receiving. And there are steps that we are going through in a journey, right? We're not going from, okay, now this is what I want, I'm here already. Or I don't want to go through this suffering, I want to finish this suffering, right? We're going through a process where we are experiencing what we need to experience. And again, some people say, no, you don't want to need, you need to want. I'm coming from a place of a step. There is a step A, there is a step B to go. I remember when I started my conscious journey, the conscious one was about 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And yeah, 12 years ago. And I wanted right away to be there. I'm there. Because everything came back to me. Everything that when I was a kid came back to me. Vision, seeing colors, talking to entities, all these came, boom, in one evening, just like came back. And with that work, the work that I started doing at that time, I wanted to be here now, back then. I couldn't be here now back then because I had to experience what I had to experience. I had to go through what I had to go through. I had to go through everything to recognize what is my Egypt, what was my Egypt at that time, and what is my Egypt at this time. And every day we may have a new Egypt, something that we may want to go and get out of or get clear about. So it was a process. So I say it is to be in this, to go through these stages to experience that. Think about the menu when you go to a restaurant. You look at the menu, you know exactly how this dish is going to taste. Le jour petit tiron vanille parpon. You know exactly how it is going to taste because you know the ingredients, you know everything, right? But you haven't tasted it. So until you taste it, you won't know really what it feels like, right? Somebody can tell you about a scarier roller coaster, and you say, nah, I'm not scared. But actually, when you go up, you pee your pants because you are scared. So until we go through these experiences, we really don't know. So going through these experiences, over the years gave me the tools really to be in this place and to talk about what I've experienced and to talk about the tools that I received, to talk about what is helpful for each one of us. Part of the Coco, Coco, hey, come here, Baba, come here. Hello. Okay, I think I'm going to go with you to Coco. Coco, listen, I'm coming, and if I'm coming, say hello to Coco. This is Coco. All right. אני מדבר. Thank you very much. All right. So yeah. So going through these experiences, oh, thank you, Sigal, for telling me about the voice thing, about the sound. Yeah, I couldn't see that. So going through these experiences is crucial. It was crucial for me. It was crucial for me to understand the places I've been. To understand the places I've been with the compassion, with the kindness that I had to myself, with the kindness that you have to yourself. Going about looking at things that happen and being kind with yourself, because you know what? If God is kind to us, if the universe is kind to you, who are you that you're not kind to you? You know what I'm saying? It's like, so with kindness, looking at where we've been, where we've gone, the places our feet led us to. Looking at with kindness, because at that point in time, I had a certain understanding. And because the understandings that we had, because the understanding that I had to go through to make these choices. I mean, I made these choices just because of where I was, and I could be in fear, and I could wherever I could be, or I could be in joy, I could do whatever. Mostly it was fear. Yeah. So it is, and you know what? When we go through these experiences and we consciously let go of them, and let go is not forgetting. Let go is letting go of the emotional attachment to it, letting go of the guilt that I may feel towards it, letting go of the shame that it boils down to, everything boils down to shame. That's the lowest frequency in the frequency table, as I call it, the frequency chart, is the lowest frequency, the shame. And when we are in that place, when we are in that Egypt, in the shame, and Egypt could be shame, could be anger, could be anything that does not serve you, anything that is holding you back. Exactly. Thank you. Anything that holds you back. Thank you. You know, we get signs from the universe, from God, in our physical dimension. You know, people say there are no miracles. There are miracles every single day. Coco, hey, Coco. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Stay here. All right. So, come, let's go. So, so we have to go through these places, through these sometimes excruciating feelings, excruciating experiences, to be in a place that we can be compassionate to ourselves. And we can be compassionate to ourselves, I believe, when we primarily go through these experiences. We can be compassionate to ourselves when we primarily go through these experiences, because when we go through these experiences, we have the experience and we know how it feels, and we know how it feels to be put down. We know how it feels to be looked down at. We know how it feels to sabotage ourselves. Our self-sabotage many times can be a very powerful experience. A very powerful experience. The self-saboteur many times is here actually to help us, to save us, or to protect us. Let's put it this way. Sometimes sometimes it may look like it's saving, but it's actually protecting us and shielding us from being in a certain place. And it's time to go. So this Passover, another aspect of the Passover, of the Seder, of the evening of the Seder, is about others, is about thinking about the others, the other that are not with us. Either they passed away, or they're not able to be with us, or they're not able to have a Seder, or they're not able to get out of their Egypt. Or if we take what's going on today, aside from us as a global world community, that we are being controlled, and our consciousness is being manipulated, and is being infiltrated by unwanted sources and forces. We have down more to the ground on different places of earth, like if we look at Ukraine, families that are fleeing Ukraine, the families that are leaving the killings. And we just have a family that arrived here from Ukraine into Los Angeles past 2 days, and we're psyched. And it's just going out to anybody that is in need, anybody that doesn't have a place to be, anybody doesn't have the means to move forward. It's not about giving the person a fish. I see that as more teaching the person how to fish, so the person can fish, so the person can create, the person can come to a place of abundance after their Egypt. So anybody that is with us, around us, in relationship with, can experience the goodness and the kindness that is in each one of us, in each one of you. There is a goodness and kindness. That's the core. That's the core of our making, is the goodness and kindness and compassion and love and accepting. Everything else is a picked up modules that we picked up throughout our lives. Module of anger, module of fear, module of this, module of that. Well, no, it's like these places that we are identifying with, and then it could make us feel bad, or it could make us feel worse. How many times our fear, our places of self-pity or self-sabotage, or all these places that are holding us back, actually in kind of a sick way makes us feel good, kind of comforts us because we're familiar with that. So let's take this weekend, this week, this Passover, this time, this energetic time, to pass over as if this didn't exist. As if this didn't exist, to pass over that, and to give it to give us our full attention, to give us our full blessing. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat, a wonderful week, wonderful Passover. Much love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.